Forgive my face. For everybody who knows what it's like when you go from a beard to clean shaven, it takes a second for the skin to readjust. So we're gonna be a little bit bumpy going forward. Uh an interesting question that has been on the channel for like the last few days has to do with the virus. You see a lot of people in the comment section, if you just take a spin there, that are like, my character would never become infected. Captain America is a super soldier, and because he's a super soldier, he has an advanced healing factor. Wolverine would never become infected by this. Captain Marvel, Thanos, these characters would never. I feel as though we have to realize that this virus is more super than the heroes that inhabit the universe. No matter what brand you are a part of, whether you are a fan of DC, and I've harped it before, but I really do feel as though a lot of people should go read Deceased. If you're a fan of DC and you've read Deceased, if you're somebody who's been around and you've read the original Marvel Zombies run and then the low-key kind of reboot, which wasn't really that good, run where it wasn't really zombies, they were infested with the horde parasites. One of the things that these universes share in common is that they do not care about a healing factor. They don't care how strong you are. They don't care how technologically advanced you are. They don't care that you're some ninth dimensional being. They don't care that you're half demon. None of that matters. Whoever you are, as long as you fall into the parameters of that virus. And when I say fall into the parameters of the virus, I really do mean whatever the vector of transmission is in this universe. As long as you fall into that vector, whether it's a bite, whether it's blood splatter, whether it's a touch, whether it's a demonic incursion, whether it's the transfer of tainted energy, nanites, whatever it is, whatever the vector for transfer is, as long as you exist in this universe, you are susceptible to it. You can be infected by it. One of my favorite panels was from the original Marvel Zombies run, where a lot of people, fans like me included, were looking around like, where's Wolverine? Wolverine has to be here. Wolverine is somewhere. He's got to be out there, and he's just fucking up all these zombies. And then we find Wolverine, and they're using him as food. Like, he is down in a basement somewhere, and they have chopped off his arms and his legs, and then they just feast on that. And he is a replenishing food source for the zombies that are down there. That by the time that you finally find Wolverine in this universe, he is so far gone because they have been feeding on him for years that he just wants you to put him out of his misery. Where it's like, yeah, we like to sit back and we like to believe that characters like Wolverine or the Hulk or Captain America or Captain Marvel or Thanos or any of these other biological characters are going to be 100% kicking ass and throwing down throughout the entire run, throughout the entire series, that they are going to be going out in a blaze of glory. Look, we hyped up Blade. Like, Blade Knight, my man. I loved every single scene he was on. But when he was presented with something superior than himself, Thor sent him away with a flick of his wrists. Didn't even look in my man's general direction. Blade Knight jumped in with that sword, and Thor kept on walking straight and just zoomed him. Like, that's one of those situations where in a movie, he doesn't even die on screen. Like, the camera just had to be panned in his general direction. In a movie, he would have died off screen. He'd have been hit by the lightning or the energy to Bifrost, and then that would essentially been it. And the sword would have clattered onto the ground, and that was it. That's it for that specific character. We suspend disbelief for the heroes that we love and enjoy, like Spider-Man, and the fact that he's going to survive in whatever situation. But we refuse to suspend belief that this virus that is ravaging the world is stronger than they are. It can infect them no matter how powerful they actually are. And it has to be. Because if it was a simple virus, something like, let's say, the Walking Dead flare virus, or the rabies virus from the Crazies, or hell, the rabies virus from 28 days, 28 weeks, 28 years later, you run into a situation where it can be cured within the weekend. Like, you have to create that level of tension. T'Challa's going to Wakanda because Wakanda has the technology to essentially cure the virus. What do we have to do? We have to destroy Wakanda in order to create tension. Is the destruction of Wakanda stupid? Absolutely. And we're going to be talking about that in a different video. But does it have to happen in order for the universe to continue to suffer? Yes. Does the virus need to be unbeatable and infect people that really doesn't make sense that they can get infected? Yes. Are there going to be certain laws and certain things that we know because we read comic books and we're like, that should never happen? Are they going to happen in this universe? Yes, because it's a zombie universe. It's not going to be playing by our rules. This virus came from the quantum realm. It has some level of quantum powers with how people are not only infected, but how they are instantaneously turned. And then a few years later, it seems as though they go through this rage phase where it's rage and consummation, and then they stabilize themselves a few years later where they begin to get their faculties back on some degree, but the hunger is still there. I do agree with a lot of people in the comment section that the hunger that was in the Marvel Zombies books really needs to be brought back and put to the forefront in the show if we're going to be getting more episodes going forward, because the hunger was such a dynamic where good characters were willing to do monstrous things because if they did not consume and they did not eat, they felt physical pain that was excruciating, as though their body was attempting to tear them apart from the inside out. That needs to be a thing. That needs to be addressed. That needs to be put forward going into the future if we're going to be getting a season 2 and we're going to be getting spin-offs for this particular universe. But guys, we need to suspend a little bit of disbelief. We're willing to believe in a man that can turn green and become a rage-fueled monster. We're willing to believe in a character that can fly through space, but we're unwilling to take a step back and go, maybe this virus is a little super. Maybe this virus is a little bit unbeatable. Maybe this virus doesn't care who it infects. It's just going to infect them.